My tariffs are bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars and are helping slash the deficit this year by more than 50%. Did you see those numbers? We're going to be down 50%, anywhere from 25 to 50, but closer to 50%. Who would think that one?
President speaking, talking about the economy in Miami this afternoon. The Supreme Court today hearing oral arguments earlier over the president's sweeping tariffs at the same time, brought by a number of affected small businesses, this case, in different states who claim that only Congress has the power to impose this tax. The Trump administration citing a 1977 law, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which gives the president broad economic powers during an international economic emergency. Trump first used this law in February to tax goods from China, Mexico, Canada, and then fully unleashed it on the rest of the world on Liberation Day back in April. Some conservative justices actually sounded skeptical at points today when looking at how much power the president has on tariffs. Here was Neil Gorsuch.
You emphasize that Congress can always take back its powers. You mentioned that a couple of times. But don't we have a serious retrieval problem here? Every president will sign a law that gives him more authority. Congress can't take that back without a supermajority. And even then, it's going to be veto-proof. What president's ever going to give that power back?
All right, the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, was at the Supreme Court to watch the discussion today and joins us now. Sir, good to have you back on. What did you see today? What do you think? How do you think they're leaning?
Well, I think they're leaning toward the president. So what happened is General Sauer, our Solicitor General, was out first, and the justices were tough. Let's say they were asking them tough questions. But when the other side got up, wow, it was very, very strong. And so I left very upbeat and very positive. And I think these justices are going to come down in favor of the president's powers because he's stopping the emergency of what's happened to trade against the United States of America. Everybody knows it. And some of those discussions were really, really interesting. And that's why it's fun to be on the show to sort of talk about exactly what some of these justices said.
You know, there was so much doom and gloom when you went down the tariff road. Everybody said this was going to be just so damning for the economy. The Atlanta Fed, and I think we have a graphic to show here, is indicating they think third quarter GDP is going to be at around 4%. That's a big number. That's a very healthy, robust number for the economy. Do you think that plays into the minds at all? If the Supreme Court's looking at this, if they saw an economy that was crashing, if they saw, indications that tariffs were really doing damage, I feel like that might impact their vote. They're not seeing that, though.
Of course, if the stock market was going, I mean, which way is the stock market going? Up, up, up. Which way is the economy going? 3.8 last quarter, estimates of 4.4% this quarter. I mean, the economy is on fire because of Donald Trump's economy is one that says tariffs, come on, build in America. You know, the president's been saying north of $15 trillion coming to build in America. That's going to grow our economy more than 4%. It could grow our economy more than 5%. I mean, these are numbers no one's ever thought are possible for America, and it's driven by Donald Trump's trade and tariff agenda.
If this doesn't go your way, do you guys have workarounds to deal with this so that you don't lose, I think the foothold that you have with these tariffs? Are there ways to do this if the Supreme Court comes down on you the wrong way?
Sure. One of the things they talked about is Section 232, which was 9-0 at the Supreme Court. And that also is about tariffs. So there are plenty of tariff rules that the president has no matter what. But the answer is these judges are going to side with Donald Trump. I'll give you an example. That Justice Kavanaugh said, imagine a meeting in the Oval Office where they have the power, because the other side agreed that the president has the power under this IEEPA rule. They admitted that he could just cut off trade to a country. So he says, can you imagine a meeting in the Oval Office where they say to Mr. President, you can cut off trade to this country? Yeah. And then the president says, well, that's too much. Let's do something less. And they say, no, Mr. President, you can't do less. You either have to, blow them up with trade and have a full embargo or nothing. It just doesn't make any sense. The concept is you can always use a weaker power to get weaker measures. That's very sensible And that is what the judges are going to agree, that if he can cut off trade, he surely can set a tariff.
You can set a tariff. All right, that's interesting. It'll be obviously a case to watch. We could get a pretty quick answer, is what they're indicating, because it's a very timely thing, a timely decision. It needs to be decided quickly. I have to ask you, because you're one of the most New York guys I know, and I know your story of obviously 9/11. You lost your company, you lost your brother. We've got a new mayor in New York, and some of the comments, the things he said in the past, very alarming to people, and I'm sure they are to you as well. What did you think of the election last night and the man that's going to lead this city for the next 4 years?
Well, I'm really, look, I'm really sad where the city's gone from 24 years ago of 9/11 to someone who speaks the way he speaks. It's very, it's very sad for me as a New Yorker, but I tell you what, I thank God that Donald Trump's in the White House, because he literally texted out, and so it begins. I mean, Donald Trump has got the back of the people in New York. He's going to try his best to make sure that he can reduce the kind of bad things that can happen to the extent he can from the White House. Donald Trump's got the back of New Yorkers, and at least that makes me feel better for New Yorkers.
Yeah. As far as the plans, you freeze the rent, you put in bottom barrel prices at grocery stores all over the city. You put 5 of those in, one in each borough. What happens economically to the city when these plans are implemented?
Well, look, first off, you destroy everybody who's not in the high-end grocery stores, but every bodega and all the little businesses. They all go out of business. Then the people who rent them space, they all get crushed. And then every landlord, of course, they can't raise the rent. And so since they can't actually raise the rent, they can't invest in the buildings. They can't get a return on the buildings. So the buildings get worse and worse. And it's just we know what happens if you don't let ordinary business run and you try to change the rules. If the rules could have been changed, they'd been changed, and you could point to one city anywhere in the world where this is gorgeous. And you can't, because these policies are good for elections, but they're not good for governing, they're not good for leading, and they're not good for the people who voted them in. They just bought somebody's, good TV ads, and they'll pay for it. It's really sad.
It really is sad. It's sad how few people really understand some of these realities. The Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. Sir, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax.